My fiancé is having an affair with my best friend, and my family helped them hide it. I played dumb until the wedding day, which is when I humiliated them all. After finding the secret group chat, which they all used to hide the affair, I scrolled to the top to see when it was formed, which happened to be 18 months ago. My mom did shame them at first, in fairness to her, but just a few days later she asked my fiancé Alex if he truly loved my best friend Peach. He said he was absolutely sure, but that he also loved me too. That's when my half-sister Maria and half-brother Richard offered that Alex try to convince me to be in an open relationship. By the way, at this point, he and I were already engaged. Alex mentioned to them all that he thinks our relationship seemed too far deep to try to bring it up. Well, my mom Angie literally offered to cover for Alex and Peach until he felt ready to bring up an open relationship to me. As I was reading, all I could think was how in the actual F could my family betray me like that. I honestly wanted to vomit. However, I was just taking screenshot after screenshot. The more I read down, I found out that Peach took my spot on our previous family trip. I got a really bad stomach bug a while ago that caused me not to go. I can't even begin to imagine what they did on the trip. And the fact my mother was okay with all of this, I think is what hurts the most. The fact she's known for way over a whole year that my fiancé was cheating on me. A few days after finding out, I had a moment of weakness and ended up sending the screenshots to Alex's parents and explained the whole deal to them. They called rather quickly. They asked me if Elle had any hard proof of them cheating besides the group chat and claims about the provocative pictures. They asked for more screenshots and I just basically sent them a good chunk of them. His mother made me feel so awful for sending them. She was sobbing and apologizing for her son. She soon became inconsolable. His father took the phone and asked if there was anything his son could do to make it up to me. I was offended that he asked that. I asked him if I could be frank and told him that unless his son could shrivel up and disappear, then there wasn't anything really he could say. His father said that he understood. I asked him if they could keep this to themselves until I brought it up to Alex. They said they could, and we ended the call. For a while, I thought vomiting from stress was rare, but it finally happened. Alex heard me vomiting and tried to rub my back. I held my hand up and cleaned myself up. He had concern in his voice and was asking if I was okay. For once, I actually saw nothing but red, yet I kept the composure. Later that day, I started getting ready for the rehearsal dinner. Alex told me he had to get some things done before heading to the restaurant. I told him that was fine and that I'd see him later. Before he left, he said he loved me, and this was one of the days he was excited for. I said me too, trying not to have much rage behind it. Once he left, I gathered all the screenshots. For some people that don't know, you can schedule text messages to be sent out at a certain time. I decided to do this to send all the screenshots of everything to everyone. Peach's family, our friend groups, his family as well as mine. I sent it to go out at 1:25 p.m. This would be the halfway point of the dinner and people would be dropping off gifts early for us. I gathered the black hole of stress forming in me and headed to the restaurant when it was time. My mother and her husband were already there. My mother hugged me and all I could do was stand there. To feel her hands on me almost felt like she was personally violating my spirit. I did a quick tap hug so she wouldn't get suspicious, and we headed inside. Guests started flowing in and everyone was surprisingly on time. Once everyone was gathered, Alex went on this whole spiel of how he was happy everyone could come and that he was excited for his family for the next dinner. He mentioned how I was the love of his life and how he was so happy our families would mingle and we could be one. I wanted to ask him how dare he say that, but nothing but fake smiles and nods from me. Peach was basically looking like a clueless dog and smiling right along and clapping for us. To see this happen in real life is truly mind-boggling. The lengths people will go to have their cake and eat it too. I could barely eat as the stress was getting to me so badly. At the time, I set for the messages. People's phones started buzzing and Alex's and Peach's phones were blowing up. I would like to admit that for once, a genuine smile crept on my face. It was like watching an entire kingdom crumble and fall. The horrified faces of Peach and Alex when they looked at me was golden. It's the one highlight I will hold on to from this emotional day. My aunt went ballistic. She started calling my mom a cruel, heartless bitch over and over. My mother hurriedly checked her phone and saw I sent her the screenshots. She started screaming and becoming irate, saying I was really trying to ruin her life again. My grandparents' reaction hurt the most because they started screaming at my mother. My grandmother was trying, with a few of our other guests, to hold my aunt back as she started screaming every explicative she could. My grandfather was screaming at my mother that he didn't raise her. At this point, everyone is screaming and crying hysterics. My other bridesmaids were cursing Peach out and calling her names. I hate to admit it, but I took joy in that. My grandfather went on to scream at Alex. I just started laughing and sobbing. I had so much emotions that I genuinely think my body didn't know what to do, so it did everything. The tears just kept coming. My cousin escorted me outside as fast as she could with Alex chasing us down. He kept screaming my name and begging to talk. I ignored him and my cousin was pushing him away from her car so she could get in and drive off. She took me to my aunt's house and told me to stay there and not answer the door for anyone. My fiancé is having an affair with my best friend and my family